Hi, I'm Alex with Covered Bridge Outfitters. Today we're going to be tying a single hook pike fly with a Buford head. Our steelhead fishing here in Ohio is winding down, but our warm water fishing is coming into play. Pike are ready to eat, a bunch of smallmouth in the rivers, so we're tying some flies for them today. To tie this fly, you're going to need some Ahrex trout predators in 6/0, some northern bucktail in gray ghost, also in light pink, pastel minnow blue, and white. You're also going to need lateral scale in 1/16 inch, some purple schlappen, and I'm using purple grizzly hackle today. Start our thread wraps at the eye of the hook, wrapping back towards our bend. Next, we're gonna grab a pinch of our gray bucktail up towards the top of the tail. Doesn't need to be a big pinch, this is just gonna act as a prop for our tail feathers. And we're just tying that in back at the bend of the hook, and then coming back to where we started our tie-in. And that's the start of our fly. Next, we're gonna grab our purple schlappen feathers. I'm gonna grab 3 of them. I've got my 3 feathers here. I like to pick off some of this plumage at the bottom just to give myself some extra space to tie it in, and it won't bulk up back in my fly. So I got my 3 tail feathers in now. I'm gonna trim those down and secure them. All right, next we're gonna grab 2 feathers from our grizzly hackle. Same thing as the schlappen, I'm just picking off some of that fluff on my feather, and we're gonna tie them in. This feather should be a little bit longer than our schlappen feathers. Then we're gonna take a few fibers of our lateral scale. I'm gonna go with 2, and I'm gonna tie those in and then fold them over. And lock them down. Now I'm gonna grab another clump of our gray bucktail. This time I'm gonna grab it closer to the base of the tail, and we are going to reverse tie this bucktail. When you're reverse tying bucktail, do not be gentle with it. Move it around, make it look how you want it to look before you secure everything down. And take my fingers and really push those fibers back. All right, there's my first reverse tie. Now we're gonna go in with some color. Move my thread forward just a little bit, then I'm gonna grab a pinch of my pastel minnow blue bucktail, again from the base of the tail. And I'm also gonna grab a pinch of my light pink bucktail. I'm gonna put my pinch of pink bucktail up top, and I'm gonna put my pinch of blue bucktail on the bottom. Make sure you're trimming this so that these fibers are equal length. Want to make sure that these fibers are separated. We don't want them to spin together. We do want this to have a color difference from the top to the bottom. Again, really pushing those fibers back, being rough with them, just making them do what I want them to do. These reverse ties do not need to look super pretty. There's going to be more reverse ties in front of them. The only one that needs to look really good is the one in front. Build up a big enough thread head to where you can push those fibers back. And that is my second reverse tie. Now we're gonna go back in with our gray. Going back in with a sizable chunk of our gray here. Give it 3 loose ties. Move those fibers around and lock them down. And we are just pushing them back again. All right, now we're gonna go back in with some flash and our saddle feathers again. Gonna grab 2 thicker ones this time. Next, I'm grabbing 4 strands of our lateral flash, put 2 on each side here. We want these strands to reach the back of our fly, so we are not gonna be folding them over. We're just tying them in at the tip, and we're gonna trim them down afterwards. If this is your first time tying a big fly like this, it is totally okay if it looks messy. Most of these flies look like a mess until they're finished anyways. but definitely takes a while to get reverse ties down. So keep tying them, keep trying. They do get better. Finally, we're gonna finish this fly off with what is called a Buford head. So I'm gonna grab a clump of my white bucktail from the base of the tail, and we're gonna kind of do the opposite of what we've been doing with these reverse ties. Spin this bucktail around, and then we are gonna cinch it. We're gonna trim this down a little bit later. We just want this big fan in front of our fly. Then we're gonna grab one more pinch of our white bucktail. Again, grabbing from the base of that tail, and we are measuring out how long we want this head to be. And I am going to clip the tips of this bucktail so that I've just got kind of a barrel of bucktail here. That's the end of what I'll be tying. Now we're gonna whip finish, and then we are gonna trim this head, and our fly will be done. So once we whip finished our fly, this head looks a little big, a little messy. We're just gonna take it off the vise. I found the easiest way to trim them is to just look at it, and we are going to trim that head in a circle. Careful not to cut our other reverse ties. And there's our Buford head all trimmed up. Doesn't need to look pretty, doesn't need to look perfect, just needs to displace some water so this fly can kick around. If you enjoyed this video or were tying along with me, feel free to leave a like and subscribe.